Hello, Entheos Academy 8th graders. This is my presentation of learning. It is meant to be an example for you to understand what a presentation of learning is, and also to get you thinking about how to do a presentation of learning. To begin, I wanted to share with you a quick story about when I was a teenager. I remember that I had just graduated from high school and I was headed to college, and I had no intention of finishing college. And as I was headed to college, I thought, I know so much and there's very little left for me to learn. And then I entered college and realized that I just didn't know very much. So this presentation of learning is a little bit about things that I have learned at Entheos Academy and about how it has improved me as a person. So at Entheos Academy, when I first came, I was not a very talented teacher, nor was I aware of that. And now that I'm here, and now that I go to professional development at least 3 times a month, it's usually 4, I've learned that there's a lot to the craft of teaching. And one of the most important things that I've learned about teaching has come from learning here at Entheos. The teachers go to class. We go to class every Friday afternoon and we're taught, and we work on incorporating the things that we've been taught into what we're teaching. And that has been very significant for me. I've learned a lot about lesson planning, and I've learned a lot about student engagement, things that I had never really thought about before coming to Entheos, but now that it's always on my mind. Are the students learning? Are they understanding? Is this meaningful for them? Are they becoming different people? So the craft of teaching is something that at Entheos that I have learned a lot about. I've learned about how to differentiate groups, how to put people in groups so that they'll work well together. I've learned a lot about instruction and how to guide students in learning. I've learned a lot about helping students achieve success and how to help them even if they struggle, and how to make them excited about certain subjects. So the craft of teaching is probably one of the most important things that I've learned while at Entheos Academy. The next thing that I've learned is how to connect with and appreciate students. Prior to coming to Entheos, I taught a pretty rough crowd. A lot of them were at the schools that I taught at. They were forced to come. And so it was an interesting experience to learn about them. And something that I wish that I would have learned there is how to appreciate students and their different gifts and talents. Every student is an individual, and every student has something to offer the world. And I have definitely learned that at Entheos Academy. One of the things that I learned about, like, how to discover that, was how to connect with students. I had a coworker who taught me a lot about connecting with students. And I just watched him be able to enjoy the company of students, but learn about them and learn about things that make them tick or that make them happy. And so I have really worked on connecting with students and learning to appreciate their abilities. One of the most important things that I learned about that was taught to me by a student whose name is Justin. And Justin said in his presentation of learning, as I was sitting there listening, he said, the first time I remember receiving positive feedback from a teacher was from Miss Leek. She had written it down on a paper, and I took it home and I put it up on my bedroom wall, and I looked at it every day. And that really hit me. I don't really remember writing much about that. I do remember that he was a very gifted speaker. He's very passionate about everything. But from that point on, one of the things that I learned from him was that I need to really highlight things that students do well and be positive about what they are capable of and what their natural talents are. And I haven't arrived yet, but it's something that I think about all the time. How can I have a positive interaction with this student? So I really appreciate Justin for teaching me that at his changed the way I give feedback to students, and it's changed the way that I interact with students. The next thing that I think is really important that I learned at Entheos Academy is school culture. School culture is how a school feels. And one of the strongest things we have at Entheos is a strong school culture. We collaborate well together, we learn well together, and we try to take the learning from each other and implement that in our classroom. And that's something that's been really important to me. I also really appreciate the people that I work with. And I have some dear friends among the staff, and that makes work such an enjoyable place to come to, not only with the students, but with the staff. So school culture for me is something that I have learned I want in every place that I go. I want a good culture, one that's collaborative and open, and also one that we can give honest feedback to one another, but have it help us be better people. So that's been significant. The next thing that I have learned, and that's been from this year, is new skills. And it's not just this year, but this year, as we have gone to an online format, have learned a lot about technology. I wouldn't say that I'm strong in that department, or I wasn't previously, but since becoming an online school for right now, I have made YouTube videos. I made a Loom video, and now I'm making my first Prezi video. And it's something that has really been helpful. I've also learned about extensions that you can put on your computer. Many of you know what that is. I didn't, but super helpful in making technology more effective for me. So for our Google Meets, I added an extension and I could see more people, and it really made the meeting so much better. So this is something that I'm continuing to learn, and I'm committed to learn. I'm also excited to try some things in the classroom. I did my first Kahoot with my crew. We had a great time, and I learned a lot about I'm learning a lot about technology and how it can improve teaching. So I'm looking forward to using that in my future classes. The next thing I wanted to talk about for presentations of learning, we want the students to focus on excellence, leadership, and service. And I wanted to talk about those things and what I've learned from Entheos Academy about them. When I first came to Entheos Academy, I wasn't a very confident person, but Entheos has helped me to gain confidence and to think that I could become more skilled and even deliver excellence in my work. And that has been very significant to me. I think the amount of professional development that we do and the amount of teaching each other and then also the students, that has really helped my confidence grow. So I'm grateful that at Entheos we strive for excellence. We strive for the best outcome. One thing that I've learned about excellence is that it takes a lot of trial and error. And at Entheos, I'm grateful that I'm allowed to make mistakes and to make mistakes to become a better teacher. That's something that the administration has allowed us to do, and something that I hope I allow my students to do as well. Because if we want to be excellent at something, we are probably going to make a few mistakes along the way. The next thing is service. We are a service learning school. Prior to coming to Entheos, I knew a lot about service projects. I knew very little about service learning. So service projects, you all show up, you do something good, you go home. But with service learning, you learn about the issue, the social issue or the challenge, and then you look for ways to help alleviate the stress that that social issue causes. And that has been an exceptional experience for me. I am now very committed to service learning. I've always liked service. I'm one of the unusual people. I have always enjoyed service. And I am committed now to learning about the challenges and the social issues that people face, and then looking for ways to alleviate that. It's one of the reasons I know the food drive is kind of a service project, but for me it's been service learning, as I've learned how to reach out to food banks and how to organize students and how to organize that whole experience. I've also learned a lot about hunger and in the state of Utah, and so it's been a good experience for me. The last thing is leadership. I have learned about leadership here at Entheos Academy. I'm one of the teachers who's been at the school the longest. And so sometimes people will come to me and ask questions that I should know the answer to. And I think the thing that I've learned the most about leadership at Entheos is how to listen. I've naturally been a good listener, but I think listening is the key to good leadership. What are my students saying? What are my coworkers saying? How can I help with the challenges that they face? How can I help brainstorm? So leadership is something that I'm still working on. I wouldn't say that I've arrived at being the best leader, but it's something that I've learned some important things about listening and how to help others overcome the challenges that they face. My future commitment is to learning, and it's to learning to make me to help me become a better person. At Entheos, I've learned quite a bit about how to become a better person. One of the things that a prior future commitment that I had when I did a presentation of learning several years ago was to do a summer program. And I did that a few years ago, and I learned a lot, and it really helped me learn a lot about organization and how to run a program. And now I'm committed to taking the learning that I've learned with technology and using it in the classroom in a positive way. I'm also committed to learning the craft of teaching. I still haven't arrived, and I really want to have more positive experiences with my students and positive experiences in the classroom and really making students excited about learning. That's something that I'm committed to doing. As this is just a demonstration, at this point, if this were a live presentation of learning, I would ask you what questions you had for me. And then we would ask and you would answer. And then that would be the end of your presentation of learning. So that's also something to think about for when you present. The goal of a presentation of learning is to present what you have learned and how that has made you a better person, how that has educated you. And also the goal is to highlight excellence, service, and leadership, and how Entheos has helped you do that. So think about those things in the upcoming week. I will be giving more and more information on how to do this presentation of learning. But for right now, just look at your learning, think about that, start collecting ideas of how you can present. Thank you so much.